This is Libby Road and the Sound Epistemology Podcast. This episode of the podcast is an excerpt of a previous podcast of an SE 101 room on the Clubhouse app from October 9th, 2021, in which Rom and Heron discussed how the term conscious assumption might be a more accurate term to use rather than belief. I recently had an interesting exchange on the Street Epistemology Discord server about number 24 of the Street Epistemology survey, which currently states, "It's possible that some of my beliefs are not true," and how that statement could be better phrased. We had lots of ideas, and my proposition was to change the statement to say, "It's likely that some of my conscious assumptions are inaccurate," while remembering the short discussion you're about to hear. So I decided to create a separate podcast of that specific subject. We currently have the SE 101 Clubhouse rooms in the Street Epistemology Club on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And you're welcome to join the conversation or just listen in. The first voice you'll hear is that of our wonderful facilitator, Early, resetting the room and inviting Heron to the stage. Let's go.
Just for anyone new in the audience, we're currently taking questions from anyone in the audience. So if you one at a time. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands and we'll bring you up. We just ask that you bring yourself back down to the audience once your question has been answered. Or you can send a back channel message to me and I'll ask the question on your behalf. And also keep in mind that this room is being recorded. With that, Heron, if you want to go ahead and ask your question, floor is yours.
Yes, hello, Heron.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Heron, good to see you again.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
Yeah, well, I love the work you guys are doing. But I wanted to ask you guys some questions about your beliefs. And I'm curious if you want to do this one-on-one or just have me throw a general question out, or how you want to do this.
Well, I guess me being a guest here, I would answer your question first.
Okay.
Then we can.
Well, Roman, and I like everything I've heard you say. Your attitude is pretty much in alignment with my own. But I still have some problem with the word belief itself. And I'm curious, do you have any beliefs?
Oh, yeah. So the way that we're usually using the word belief in street epistemology is just, for lack of a better word, but we usually use interchangeably several different words, actually. Belief is one of them. Claim is another one. One could also say statement, I guess, or what was the another one? I think there was another one. But yeah, I think you get the idea. So we could say claim instead of belief. It wouldn't make difference in this sense. So when we're saying belief, we're not attributing a specific kind of believing, I guess. So just for the lack of a better word, if you come up with a better word, it would be nice. So I have lots of beliefs. I like anything basically that I think is true is my belief.
But is true. I mean, that's sort of the heart of the issue, because for me, I try to operate on what I call conscious assumptions, and I assume responsibility for having made those assumptions. I assume the sun will come up tomorrow. It may not, but it's a safe bet, it seems to me. But I don't believe that the sun will come up tomorrow. To me, it's really just a distinction. The use of that word bugs me because of, the way, primarily the way religionists use that word, believe. It really implies for them some sort of knowledge that I don't, is justified. So I just don't like the word believe for anybody. I prefer to operate on conscious assumptions. So I guess I'm just curious how you respond to that.
Oh, I actually love that. I like your approach, and yeah, like speaking philosophically serious, I would also say that I don't think there is such a thing as truth, or we could even say absolute truth or knowledge, like some in a strong meaning of
Yeah,
this word. So yeah, definitely. If you, if you would ask me, like for a more defensible position that I have, I would also be using words like you said, conscious assumption. I love it. I also like to use words like expectations. I expect this to happen to
yeah,
this level of
yeah,
confidence. Like I'm 99.99% confident that the sun will come up
yeah.
tomorrow.
It's a good bet.
It's never 100. Right. So yeah. So
Well,
I
so
like it.
then, okay. Well, so the question I had for you is: do you have any beliefs, or do you operate on conscious assumptions?
Conscious assumptions only. Yes,
Okay.
I I'm a Bayesian thinker, if you know what I mean. I don't believe in confidence, 0% or
Yeah.
100% confidence. Yeah, I always try to ask myself how confident I am, and it's always somewhere in between, never 100, never
Yeah.
0. And also, I can ask myself what could shift my confidence in either direction, actually. And I have to know the answers to those questions too. If I don't even understand what the answers to those questions
Yeah.
are, then I might think that something is probably not reliable in my way of thinking.
Well, then in that case, I don't think we have anything more to talk about.
But yeah, thank you very much. It's an interesting subject, and I think it's important. It also comes up pretty naturally in these kinds of discussions between, because some people just use those words like truth, knowledge, and they don't mean it in an absolute sense, or they don't even think in such terms, right? So for me, I would just say that I don't mind using those words as long as people uh, mm, don't I don't know, let's say agree on the understanding of those words. They
Yeah.
don't imply something hidden or something
Yeah.
too absolute about it. Yeah, as long as you don't do that, I don't mind whatever words you're using, truth, knowledge, whatever. But yeah, speaking more seriously, of course, conscious assumptions or expectations would be a nicer way of
Okay.
phrasing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, like I say, we're completely in accord here, and like I say, I'll go back down to the audience.
Awesome, but thanks for bringing this up, Aaron. I think
Thank
it's an
you.
important
Yeah.
subject.
Yeah, Heron, if Heron runs some really interesting rooms here on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse often, and you haven't been to one of his rooms, I definitely recommend it. It's always a fascinating conversation. And actually, Heron was one of our first guests in our old room. And it was a great room. I've had the privilege of having a one-on-one with Heron also, and I hope to do more. And some of the things that I've learned from Heron is choosing the right words. Um, I use words like the the lot less.
Oh,
Um,
good. Thank you, David. All right.
I just because of the implications that it comes with, and basically just that understanding of how language really guides us, um, for better or for worse. And also, on the subject of the word belief, I'm using that word a lot less now too, and I'm using words like conclusion or assumption a lot more instead. So yeah, I highly recommend people following Heron and joining his rooms. It's they're really fun.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Let me
Yeah,
just that the room or the club is called Gendo Tactical Language, and since this is my obsession in life, I'm always available to talk about this stuff. And all the information is in my profile here, and there's a link tree document in there that gives you all the URLs as active links. So, and I'm always available. So, thanks you guys for your work. I really really love what you're doing and support it. And I'll be back another time probably.
Awesome. Awesome. Actually, after David's introduction of Heron, I started appreciating Heron even more because I also think these matters are very important, highly important. As David interestingly put it, as where language guides us. And interestingly, I think about it quite a lot too, like how language guides us. Language is the only thing that we can use to, well, or maybe the best thing we can use to translate our thoughts into and to discuss things. But actually, it's oftentimes happening that language actually guides us. Like, for example, if a person thinks too seriously about words truth or belief, like, is it actually true or is it not true? And they are starting to think, for example, in binary terms, and they just don't have even, maybe they don't have a language to have level to assign levels to it, or maybe they just, I don't know, letting the language guide them literally. But I actually think it should be the other way around. Yes, language
Roman,
guides us to some degree, but
yeah,
we
Roman,
should be the ones who are guiding the language on the other
yes,
way around.
yeah. Language uses us more than we use it, and I would like to invite
Yeah.
you to my room anytime. I'd love to have a good one-on-one with you sometime, Roman. Good work. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Duhat.
Okay, bye.
And there you have it. If you enjoyed this episode of the podcast and want to join the conversation or just listen in, you can find us in the Street Epistemology Club on the Clubhouse app, Saturday afternoon starting at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Until next time, keep asking questions.